Hello, it's Neil Gardner here once again for another Audiobook Blast in association with those fine, fabulous folk. What are my hands doing? With those fine, fabulous folk over at the ACA. Yes, that's the Audiobook Creators Alliance. A wonderful group of people, over 260 members now. Wow! And working in partnership with groups like Equity to really help the creative side of the UK audiobook industry come together, join forces, help each other out. Everyone from narrators to editors, producers, directors, sound designers, authors, cover designers, proofers, everyone who's involved on the creative side came together and just sort of raising up our wonderful art form together. So go join if you haven't, it's completely free. So what's today's Audiobook Blast about? Well, it's number 49 in the series, so that could mean only one thing. Yes, it's fairly obvious, I'd have thought. It's transferring files. Well, not really quite that obvious. It's what to do when you get that script. So this is good for narrators, this is really good for producers as well. Basically, when you're about to go into the studio. So you're going to get your script. Now, hopefully, the manuscript's going to be the final one. If it's not, chase that one up. The publishers can be a bit naughty sometimes. They're not sending you the very final signed off one. But whatever the final one is that you've agreed to record from, you're going to want it in PDF format, preferably. You might get it in Word or some other weird format. Get it converted into PDF. And then what you're going to need to do is, presumably you're going to work from a tablet in your studio, like most people. You might print it off, but let's say you're going to be working from a tablet, whichever brand of tablet it is. How are you going to get it over there? Okay, so what a lot of narrators do is they have their email accounts built into their tablets or iPads or whatever, and so they'll just literally open it up in their tablet. So just double click on it. Problem is that means the only copy you've got is within the tablet's kind of portable memory. Unless you're using Gmail, it may well be up in the cloud. So the first thing I always say to absolutely everyone, set yourself up a backup copy. Now this could mean a variety of different things. You could have a separate file on your tablet, but what I tend to suggest to most people is set yourself up some form of cloud account, be it a Dropbox, be it an iCloud, be it a OneDrive. There's tons of them, whichever one you prefer. But set up a second place, and the second you get that master manuscript in, save a backup clean copy of it to that service. That way you've got it and it's safe no matter what happens. Okay. And then what you're going to do next? Well, depending upon how you work, most people work with, say, iAnnotate to mark up their script. So then you open your PDF in iAnnotate and start doing your markups. Again, every few hours, make sure you do a backup. With iAnnotate, you can link iAnnotate's file folder structure to a cloud account, again, like Dropbox or iCloud or OneDrive. Make sure you're doing that. Make sure it's not just saving back to the device, but it's saving back to a backup. And that is the marked up version. So you can have a clean version backup and a marked up backup, and then you've got everything. Okay, so then when you get to the studio, everything's fine. You can get on, you can be reading it, or you're working from your home studio, you've always got that one. Last thing I always suggest to people is every day, this is for narrators, every day you've been recording, do another save. You might have added some details, you might have changed a few things, but do another save. Just make sure that the document you're going to be working on tomorrow or next week is definitely secure from the end of the day you've just been doing. Now for producers, pretty much same thing. Dropbox is my favorite one for this. We have a shared Dropbox between myself in the studio and Morrison in the other studio next door, and all our editors, and we share Dropbox folders with our proofers, etc. And that's a really good way of making sure there's a clean copy always available to everybody. And then at the end of, actually we do it on half day, so every lunchtime and end of day, we then do a save backup both to the tablet device that we're using and back to the Dropbox as well. And actually, to be completely belts and braces, we also do a send. So within iAnnotate, there's a little email marked up script, and you can email that off. So that goes off as well to the editor. So there's kind of like 3 or 4 versions floating around. And when we do that, we will say, up to page such and such or to end of chapter. But again, useful to make sure that within your, say, Dropbox or iCloud or OneDrive, that's your kind of repository, your safe repository. But don't rely on cloud. So do make sure, and this is something I do like to remind everyone, is that if you can, particularly if you've got a PC or a Mac at home or in your office, make sure that clean version is always saved to there. And then when you finish your project, particularly important for producers, because you're going to need to hold on to these things for many months until your clients are okay with you starting to discard stuff, make sure you've got a couple of backups of the marked up script and the clean script as well. So it's really worth thinking about. I can't recommend more highly cloud accounts for making sure that wherever you're on the move, no matter what studio you end up in, whether you're working from home or you move to another place, you've always got access to both a clean script as an absolute backup and to your marked up scripts, whether you're a narrator, producer, an editor. It's really helpful to make sure that's all in place. It only takes a few minutes to set up when you first get your tablet, and it's worth it. You don't have to pay for a lot of these. As for most of the kind of documents you're dealing with, you'll be able to use the free services, the 2 gig, 4 gig type storage solutions, but also then finally for producers and masters and studios, try and keep hold of everything if you can. So have yourself an archive backup and then a secondary archive backup for those documents to go along with your mastered files and everything else, because you never know, it might be a year or 2 years later, but a client comes back and asks you to do a fix or a re-edit, or just to do the project again, or to ask you some notes, or we've heard something and the author wants to know why you did it. So having all that stuff backed up is really helpful. The whole backup thing is a really big issue to talk about, and I can't really do it justice here, and you kind of need an expert. But in this way, just that process of starting from the emailed PDF you get from the publisher or your client or the studio, just make sure clean copy. Please keep a second clean copy somewhere safe but accessible so you can get to it if you need it. You can't trust the tablet's built-in memories to always be able to access it when you need it, or if something goes wrong with your tablet, you may need to borrow a tablet, and in which case, you should be able to then dive into your cloud storage and at least get the clean copy again, or hopefully get your marked up copy. So there you go. Hope that's been helpful. That's been episode 49, and we'll see you again for one more Audiobook Blast. Ooh, what does that mean? Foreshadowing. See ya!